is not just a video for new people on air transport. For those who already have experience, this video will help you to determine it as this flight practice are for you too. There are 5 basic aspects in trans that have to be understand in order to start doing flight practice. If you did have experience on trans and you do not master these 5 basic aspects, then this video is for you. The RPMs and the power. When you board on a helicopter as a pilot, you have to wait until the engine reach the maximum RPM, which you can only conclude when the engine pitch sound stop increasing. Then, you can take off, but on PR that doesn't mean that the engine is ready to deliver the maximum power and the adjustment will not be regular. The engine will be able to reach the maximum power after 30 seconds holding down the throttle, key W. Then the adjustment will be regular. To understand why this is relevant, let's understand the second aspect first. There is 4 ways to use the throttle. The first way is by holding down W until you reach any desired value on the indicator, then release it, used for takeoff and for switch from hover to forward flight. The second way to use the throttle is by tapping the key W 2 or 3 times per second, is used to maintain the altitude. Increasing the frequency will not exceed more than 50% of the power on the indicator, and it won't make any changes on your altitude or power. The third way is by pulse width modulation. This one consists on tapping the key W or S, but adjusting how long you hold down the key, to increase or decrease the power, is used to control the forward speed on forward flight, and to control the ascend speed, but is also the only way to descend on hover flight without stalling the aircraft. The fourth way consists on holding down the key W to reach all the power on hover and forward flight. So back to the first aspect, if you use the throttle the first way and set a pulse past 2 bars after 1/4 of the power indicator and you don't take off, your engine's still cold regardless the pitch sound, and need to run it 30 seconds at full power before trying any practice. The level alignment. All the helicopters should be level aligned to the ground on the air and on the ground. To check these, use the throttle the first or the fourth way to take off from a level floor for more than 15 meters high without moving the roll or pitch axis. The helicopter shouldn't move towards any direction. And we should be able to see how the attitude indicator and the artificial horizon stay aligned on the air and before taking off. That is not the case for all of the helicopters. For example, on all the variations of Hueys and Bells, if after warm up properly the engine we tried to take off using the throttle the first way, by set pulse release, and we don't move the roll or pitch axis, the helicopter will move forward by himself. That is because when the helicopter is level on the air, the attitude indicated should be aligned down here. And as you can see on this position, the helicopter doesn't move forward or sideways because it's balance. You can see the difference between the two states as soon as I land by comparing the transition of this on air level alignment to the alignment position when landed. Taking off unlevel due to this difference when you are surrounded by obstacles has the inconveniences of having a small error range in a situation where the indicator is tricky and hard to compare in midair. So, before taking off on a helicopter with this level difference, you have to first hit the throttle the second way, by frequency control. This will make the helicopter very light, then pull up the pitch until you reaches the real level. Then you can take off by using the throttle the fourth way, saturation control, or by the third or the first way, set pulse and release control. The one choose on this case. After taking off you have to go back on the throttle the second way, frequency control, to maintain your altitude. Tumble recovery. To avoid a recovery from a rollover, you must do the following exercise. Apply frequency control to the throttle while you use your mouse to move the roll axis to any side until you left up a sideway wheelie. Then stop applying frequency control on your throttle. Then hit the key S as needed to pull to the opposite direction the mouse is pulling to keep the balance. Practice it until you can hold it for 5 seconds on both sides. On Project Reality, the wings or blades have no mass, they cannot collide with other objects. If you fall or roll sideway, do the next technique. First, lift up a sideway wheelie, but this time let it roll gently. The first second after hitting the floor sideway, don't touch the controls. After, if you roll to the left, move the mouse to the right. Simultaneously hold down the key S and tap the key A. Release the keys A and S as soon as you pass the wheelie center balance point. Practice it to the other side, but this time if you roll to the right, move the mouse to the left. Simultaneously hold down the key S and tap the key D. If you feel the mouth is not pulling enough to the sides, press Escape, and on the main menu select Options, then select Controls. After select the helicopter, tap and check that your mouse sensitivity is between 5 and 7. And very important, don't forget to press Apply, then Confirm, then Escape, otherwise the change won't be applied. Ground interaction. When you apply the throttle the first way to 1 bar past 1/4 on the throttle indicator, on this point, your helicopter is going to take off to 5 meters high approximately in general when you are on an airfield runway. When we take off on an aircraft carrier to get to the same 5 meters high lift, we need to almost double the set pulse and release mark, but only on the takeoff moment. This varied on other terrains in edification, like shallow water, rocks floors, containers top, or rooftops for example. The interaction on landing is different too. That's why it's always important to choose an airfield to do flight practice. But anyway, sometimes on some circumstance the helicopter can get sticky or sink, or both if we land or take off on a rooftop. This is less often the pavement or the sand or grass, but this will definitely happen more often on a container top, but it will never happen a bunker rooftop or an airfield. On some helicopters with automatic retractable landing gear we have to hover at less than 20 meters height, activate the landing gear, but we have to hover enough time so the landing gear can completely come out. If we land before the landing gear is completely unfolded the helicopter is going to tip or lean to the side where the wheel didn't come out. Same thing if we don't land very well level. If you don't roll over the floor and damage your helicopter is going to be on balance to take off again. In any of those cases just use the frequency control before taking off, and balance your helicopter towards the artificial horizon on the HUD with the pitch or roll.